I'm in London at the Jazz Cafe with Jack Flash. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome to London.
Good. Thank you so much.
I know it's not your first time, but
It's not. It won't be the last.
definitely. Jack, let's talk about you because you're not the usual singer-songwriter.
No.
I would say you're a little bit more of a storyteller. Is that correct?
Yes, I'd say so. Definitely. There's a load of elements of good songwriting in what I do, but I fuse it with this whole idea of getting a narrative in every song as well. You know what I mean? So a definite storyteller. Yeah.
That's right. So, how would you describe your style if you had to?
Right now, if I was to describe it, it's somewhere in between hip hop, spoken word, folk music, all kind of fused together to create something definitely unique. Yeah.
And I heard it, so it is definitely unique.
Yeah.
How did you get to that level? How did you combine all these different elements?
I come from a real hip hop background. Like when I was growing up, everything was hip hop. I was such a ridiculously hungry rapper to just prove that I could rap.
Right.
And I just did do, and everything was about bars, and trying to be the better rapper. But throughout the course of that, I developed like a songwriting style and a storytelling style that took on a life of its own. So the songs themselves, they evolved, and then the musical influences involved. Like I was doing side projects with other bands. I used to be in a band which had a whole bunch of different musical influences, and then I kind of just stretched hip hop as far as it could go, and wanted to bring in some new elements. And started working a lot with live musicians. And a lot of the other stuff that I listen to is non-hip hop, and I wanted to pull them influences in, and I kind of ended up with this weird kind of folky style as well. It's not weird; it's just
it's quirky.
It's quirky, maybe. Yeah, it's quirky in the hip hop world, if you get what I mean. So it has its roots in hip hop, but we just take a lot of musical influences from elsewhere.
How old were you when you started?
3 years old. I'm kidding. I was 4.
Gosh, who were you listening to though? Anyway.
I don't know how old I was when I started. Like teens, and then. But I don't know. I was pretty much writing poetry from about 8 years old, so it's always been there somewhere. You know what I mean? And then I just got into music. Like as soon as I started to get influenced by hip hop at about 13, that kind of mentally ruined me for life.
That's it. Who did you like?
Back then, Tupac, huge into Tupac, and then went through the whole course of hip hop that you do and listened to absolutely everything. Lost myself on Nas, all that Wu-Tang, got to like the Eminem stage,
Of course.
and then absolutely just lost myself on all the big MCs. Do you know what I mean? Then discovered all the underground, and then all the British ones, and then since then it's like wow.
And I want to know a little bit more about your lyrics.
Okay.
What do you like to talk about? There's a lot of depth and there's a lot of meaning of what you do.
Yeah.
What are the subject and the message that you're trying to pass?
I always write something that I feel needs to be written. So it's like, now I don't want to write anything that's just for the sake of it. That has its place, and I listen to some artists that do that, and I love that. But when I sit down and write, I'm always trying to get the most meaning out of it possible. So I also like to touch on things that are not, like you have the superficial layer of life, and then you have what's underneath it.
Yeah.
And I fucking love to talk about what's underneath. Do you know what I mean? Like, what,
Did you just say the F word?
did I? Am I allowed to?
No.
Sorry, you didn't give me the brief on that.
I'm joking.
We'll bleep it.
So we were saying about the superficial level
Yeah.
and the one underneath it.
Yeah, and with some F words mixed in.
Yeah.
And it was, to get what's underneath to me is really interesting. The things that you're not talking about, the things that you're not admitting, the things that are kind of there but not being spoke about, those are the things that I like to talk about. Whether those things that like something that's happening in society, or whether there's some things that are happening emotionally, like in an individual case, or whether they're, it could be anything. It could be absolutely anything. I didn't have another word to put there.
You kind of bring them back to the surface.
Yeah, exactly. And whether that makes you feel uncomfortable or whether it makes you feel like, yeah, I'm glad someone's actually saying that. That's cool. as long as it's provoking a reaction and it's doing something, I'm happy. Yeah.
That's why you are a storyteller.
Yeah, exactly.
Eventually.
Exactly.
Talking about your music project, the last one is called Stone Soup.
Indeed.
One.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Tell me more about it. The title is fun and it's provocative, as you said.
Yeah.
What was the creative process behind it as well?
So the idea, the basic premise of the Stone Soup was that it was a story that I was brought up with. I remember being a little kid getting told the story, and it was to wrap it up in a 10-second story. It's basically like a beggar, an old tramp, blagging his way to get what he wants. On his way to getting what he wants, enriches other people's lives, and basically through minimal resources gets maximum sort of
Results.
reward.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So go look for the story or read it, or unless you're familiar with it. And there's a lot of parallels to how the project came together. First of all, like the guys that I used, the way that we worked together, the process of how I put it together. We literally was dealing with nothing. Did it on a shoestring budget. It doesn't sound like it's done on a shoestring budget. We put it together however we could, and then there's a lot of parallels with my position in my career and in the music world. Of everything is a blag to get somewhere, to get something, or on your journey to enrich other people's lives and also benefit yourself. So I just thought it was extremely appropriate. It was a lesson I was taught as a kid, and it's something that's found its way into my adult life. So.
Jack, talk to me about your ambitions. You're very ambitious,
Yeah.
so talk to me about it, and talk to me about the philosophy in your music.
Sure. I think definitely when it comes to the philosophy of the music, it's that I want to keep provoking the reaction. I want to keep talking about some interesting stuff. I want to keep making people sit up and listen because we're saying interesting things. Ambition wise, I just want to build. I want this to spread. I want people to share my music. I want to get to the point where I'm playing auditoriums, people coming, sitting down, watching this show, fully locked in. Things like, I always wanted to play Jules Holland, still want to play that. It's things like that. I could be as ambitious as possible. I could go anywhere with this.
I can definitely see you there.
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah.
no problem with that at all.
Sure.
Talking about a collaboration.
Yeah.
If you had to have one, who would you have in mind?
Interesting. So many people.
First
many
name
people.
that comes into your mind.
I always thought of doing like an album with the Cinematic Orchestra or something.
Oh.
That collaboration of me and them, their sound and their vision and my style, it could fuse perfectly. It could definitely fuse perfectly. And it'd just be that would be an intense album.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I could see that. That'd be a good one.
You're not from London.
No.
I can hear from your accent. You're
Yeah.
from up north
I'm
in
from
England.
up north, yeah.
So tell me more about the differences. About living up north, being in London, music over there, music over here.
Yeah. Like Huddersfield, where I'm from, in West Yorkshire, it's a small town. It's a small town, and with a small town comes everything that a small town brings. Small town mentality. There's zero music industry.
Right.
But I can't lie, great place to grow up, great place to get a community of people, great place to meet people, great place to be honing your skills as a musician. Like everywhere is accessible from it. There's not much of a music scene, I say that, but then I met some of the most amazing people I know in my life through Huddersfield musically. Also a great place to go when you're like 50 plus and you're retiring.
So not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Not from the.
If I had to go through your phone.
Yeah, you can't do
look,
that.
No, I can't do that. But I had to look at the playlist that you're playing right now.
Yeah.
Give me some names.
Interesting. It's wide. It's varied. I've just gone through like about a 3-day Action Bronson binge, which the thing is I've seen Action Bronson live a couple of times. I listened to a bunch of his stuff, but it was only the last 3 days that I was just like, this guy's a monster.
You're fine.
You're cool, right. Is that the bleep for the swear word?
There it is.
Yeah,
It is. No,
okay.
we'll be fine with that.
Okay.
My
There's
last-
more. There's more. I'm not just listening to Action Bronson.
Yeah.
There's Future Islands.
All right.
Yeah. George the Poet.
All right.
J.P. Cooper. You know that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's quite a bunch I'm listening to. Quite varied.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
J. Cole's album as well.
That's another
Still
one.
playing that. Yeah. This is going to be
It
inconvenient for
doesn't
an
matter.
interview.
We carry on anyway.
sure?
Yeah. So
Okay.
last question.
Yeah.
What's next for you then?
Huh?
What's next for you?
I'm going to get out of the building because it sounds like it's burning down. Next, so we've got the EP done, the EP's out and it's finished, and I'm just going to follow it up with more music. After this, I'm just going to have a stream of new music coming out. That is my next step, building towards a second EP a little further down the line.
Well, good luck with everything.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And thank you.
Thank you. Cheers. I'm Jack Flash. Shout out to Empire Radio Magazine. Think global, not local.
Log on to EmpireRadioMagazine.com for the latest news in arts, culture, and entertainment. Empire Radio Magazine. Think global, not local.